Now, how the small market town of Bungay in Suffolk is set to become the centre of international attention.
Julian Assange, the founder of the whistleblowing website WikiLeaks, could be bailed to a country house near Bungay. He's currently being held in London over alleged sexual assaults in Sweden. Sasha Twining reports.
This is Bungay. This is not the first place you'd expect to encounter a figure who some US politicians want to be put on trial for treason. And perhaps not the first place you'd expect to find the press pack sniffing round a big international story. Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, is waiting to hear if a judge at the High Court will let him spend his Christmas in Suffolk. If Julian Assange gets bail, this is where he'll be, and it's nothing if not private. This is actually as close as we can get to Ellingham Hall. It's a private house surrounded by 600 acres of land, surrounded also by private roads, and it's somewhere down that lane behind me there. Ellingham Hall is the family estate of Vaughan Smith. He's one of the celebrity backers who have pledged to come up with the money to secure Assange's bail. Campaigners outside court in London say the extradition request is unfair and politically motivated. Mr Assange's bail has been set at nearly £250,000, and among his high-profile supporters, who are thought to have their chequebooks ready, are socialite Jemima Khan, campaigner Bianca Jagger and veteran journalist and campaigner John Pilger. If Julian Assange is granted bail, part of those conditions are that he has to report to the local police station every day. So he may well end up here, the market town of Bungay. Probably a far cry from some of the bright lights that he's used to. And despite being at the heart of an international news story, Julian Assange may well find that if he comes here to go about his business, he may well be fairly undisturbed. You know who Julian Assange is?
No, sorry, I wouldn't know.
No, I don't. No, sorry.
I knew the name sort of rang a bell, but yeah, I thought it was some celebrity from, the X Factor or something.
While the people of Bungay get used to the added interest in their town, the next stage in this case is at the High Court in London tomorrow morning. If the WikiLeaks founder is released to spend Christmas in Suffolk, he could always use the time updating his profile on his whistleblowing website. Sasha Twining, Anglia News, Bungay.
It's coming up to 6:15. Do stay with us. More of the region's.
Police have made several arrests following a series of raids on houses in Great Yarmouth this morning.
They say they've reacted following complaints from local residents about antisocial behaviour and drug dealing. Malcolm Robertson reports.
At 10:30, a rather unceremonious knock at the door in Great Yarmouth. Some 30 police officers targeting several houses in the town. All part of a sustained attack aimed at interrupting the local drugs trade. Since October, 40 arrests have been made in connection with suspected drug offences and fewer burglaries have been reported.
Well, this has been quite a turnout by the police today, prompted in the main by complaints from local residents about antisocial behaviour and drug dealing around here.
In this house, they've to negotiate narrow corridors and dark hallways. Dogs are brought in to help trace any presence of drugs. There's a big area to search. And lots of items to sift through. Outside, police officers stand guard just in case there's any attempt to throw anything out of the house. They make no apology for such a show of force.
It's our job to do something about it, and if we take the right stance and the right move forward, hopefully it will affect the long-term future of street dealing, of activity around crime and drugs, and again make the place a better area for people to bring children up and live as a family unit.
A number of arrests are made, this man on suspicion of being in possession of cannabis and amphetamines. Nearby, police officers explain to local people what's going on and assure them they're trying to make it a safer place. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News, Great Yarmouth.
The number of unemployed in the East has fallen. The latest figures from the government show 202,000 people are looking for work in the region, down 2,000 on the previous 3 months, meaning the unemployment rate in the East is still lower than the UK average. Nationally, unemployment rose by 35,000 between August and October. It now stands at over 2.5 million.
The Tottenham and England footballer Ledley King has been banned from driving for 56 days for doing more than 100 miles per hour in Newmarket and fined £800. King from Cuffley in Hertfordshire had previously admitted speeding on the A14. He claimed he was travelling at less than 100 mph, but Sudbury magistrates ruled the police laser gun was accurate.
A father from Newport Pagnell has arrived back in this country, vowing to continue fighting to bring his children home from Zambia. Ken Spooner has been battling for custody of his two sons since they were taken to Africa by their mother 2 years ago. Last week, a court there cleared him of charges that he'd plotted to abduct them.
Now that the muddy waters have gone, that's exactly what I'm going to do, focus my attentions on pursuing every legal avenue possible so that they can return back home to England. 2 years is a long time out of anyone's life.
Now, with an estimated 10 million Christmas trees expected to be sold this year, one garden centre owner in Norfolk claims to be the first in our region to rent them out instead.
Paul Waymark won't just deliver it for you, he'll nurture it for a year and then rent it back to you next Christmas, as Kate Prout now reports.
Can you put it around, please? Yeah. Like, all the way round?
The Green family prepare for Christmas. Green in name and green in nature, because this year they've chosen to rent their tree rather than buying it.
The children like to go and visit the tree and see how it is, so I think it would be quite good. I don't like just to throw the Christmas tree away at the end of the season, so that's the main reason why I'm interested.
Paul Waymark is the man behind the scheme. He thinks 10 million trees being cut down every year is just too many.
As soon as the tree is cut, it's dead. And I think that's a tragedy. Over the next 10 years, and since 2001 to this year, it's estimated that an extra 2.5 million per year are cut down. Basically, I don't think that's good enough. I'd like to see more trees preserved rather than cut down, burnt or destroyed or thrown away.
While most trees will die within weeks, these have always lived in a pot and are more likely to survive. Some simple tips then to help your tree last longer. If you're not planning on repotting it, then don't put it into soil or sand, but put it on a stand instead. They love their water, so between 2 or 4 pints a day, and keep it away from radiators or naked flames. Costing between £30 and £45, Paul's trees are on a par with most other suppliers, and they include delivery. Garden centres sell the majority of real and artificial trees, and if you're lucky, you'll get some bonus advice from someone in the know.
Of course, the great thing about real trees is that you can recycle them afterwards. You can take them to the council recycling centre and they can be turned into mulch and compost and things like that, and you can feel it's sort of back to nature, if you like.
Whatever type of tree you choose, maybe this white Christmas will encourage more of us to go green. Kate Prout, Anglia News, Helston near Norwich.
What a great idea.
Yeah, simple ideas are always the best ones, they say.
They are now. Nearly 1 in 3 11 and 12-year-olds in the East is overweight or obese. Tens of thousands of Year 6 pupils in the East had their height and weight measured as the NHS tries to deal with the growing levels of obesity among school children. The figures show Great Yarmouth and Waveney have the biggest problem in our part of the region, with 35% of children weighing too much.